Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the peace and love. Welcome again to the NEPPC podcast. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with former political prisoner
Abdul Islam.
Today's episode, we focus on the 4th of July, which my brother says 4th of July, and we want to talk about what that means to the United States and what that means to people of African descent who are struggling for their liberation, who have to look at situations from a different perspective because we are looking at it from a history of oppression and history of exploitation. So let us begin by going back to the very, very famous and important speech by Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass had escaped slavery, and he was asked to make a speech. And during this time, our ancestors were enslaved, and they weren't enslaved too far from where he was giving the speech from. So he wanted to deal with the matter as concretely as possible. And I think that it's very important for us to continue to evaluate this speech, not looking at it as a speech being at a time where it was long ago and those particular situations don't exist anymore. We have to connect that to the present time, and we have to connect that with those who are fighting and those who are making sacrifices, those who chose to take a leadership position regarding our situation and not concerned about the consequences that would come from their position. So in Frederick Douglass' speech, he says, "What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim, to whom your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty and unholy license, your national greatness, swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants, brass fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgiving, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him more bombast, fraud, deception, and impiety and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States, or these United States. And I think that that's the tone that is taken from people who are striving to change the conditions. And that is synonymous with the position that our political prisoners have taken when they chose to fight and express love the way it should be, which is to show how people are and to show what's going on and to show that you had to be very clear about what you need to do. And you have to be on the side of the people, the right side of history. So today's conversation is about what the 4th of July really means and how it relates to our political prisoners and the fact that our political prisoners are still involved with our struggle for liberation, which is for us to be uninterrupted in our development as a people, as a nation.
Peace and love. Our sister Viola Plummer, chairperson of the December 12th movement, asked the question, what is the 4th of July to the black people in 2000 and 23. It is a system that we're living in, governed by the same forces, people with the same mentality that existed when Frederick Douglass was writing. They're inviting us, as they invited Frederick Douglass, to be a part of America. With the sham, the con game that we're going to benefit. Claiming that they actually believe in the freedom and justice. They sought for themselves. They seek this for everybody. You know, um, and just like it was the truth was clear in the days of Frederick Douglass, the truth is clear now. You know, um, they want us to run around here waving American flags. Many of our people, they make noise on the 4th of July. They really don't believe the myth, but they like to make some noise, with some explosives and stuff, which kind of reminds me of a time that somebody bought 40 quarter sticks of dynamite, which equals, for math students, that equals 10 sticks of dynamite, and some drug dealers heard the noise go off where they used to sell dope. People call themselves dope niggas. So the dope niggas decided not to be dope niggas no more. You understand me? Because they heard the noise. So we making noise today too to bomb some of the lies and some of the myths. They tell us. One thing that causes people to rise up and rebel is the legal system of regimes such as courts, jails, police, and like I said, in prisons, And right now, the Supreme Court has come with a ruling that comes at affirmative action. All the fascists are praising that, are jumping up in the street, rejoicing. The fascists who voted for Donald Trump, and there's a possibility that Donald Trump will be the next president, and 56 million fascists voted for him before, and we got these millions and millions of fascists in America today, and black people need to organize against this fascism, Also, the fascists are coming at, which is a form of genocide, coming at affirmative action is a form of genocide by the mass murderers who go around the world murdering millions and millions and millions of dark-skinned people. They're saying that they must control our education. In that history will become a history of a world of make-believe, knowing that when we take control of what is ours and teach history of the real world, that will put fight in our people, that will put a drive for justice and truth in our people. So we are engaged in these struggles presently right now. So this is the meaning of the 4th of July, is to be aware of the technology, of enemy inviting you to jump into a boiling cauldron and be cooked alive. You understand? And calling that paradise for black people. To correctly define what that is. Fascism is on the rise in America. Police brutality, police murdering our people. They're passing laws, to give us more and more and more time. So they sell us this dream through their propaganda. A lot of people look at the word propaganda and think it only means the propaganda that the enemy gives. But propaganda can be used in a positive sense when we take control of the narrative. There's a part of the word take the narrative that exists, that we hijack the narrative and take it. You understand? And fashion it in a way, you understand, that puts a need and understanding of resistance in our people. That is what move to produce Black history was all about in the educational system. It was an act of resistance against lies being told to our people. Lies, a world of make believe being sold to our people to make our people weak. You understand? An intention to make our people cowardly. An oppressor wants a people to be timid. And sheep-like. You understand? Bowing down, submitting to everything that they come with. You understand? But resistance, is a stand against all of that. And this is what our political prisoners represent. People who were able to stand against the worst of oppression. And we're talking about a brother today, Jojo Bowen. You understand? Who took mighty stands against the so-called powers that be, against the vicious, subhuman police force in Philadelphia, which was known for its criminal insanity and violence against Black people. They took a stand inside the prison system, you understand, against all the weaponry, you understand, amassed, by the system, in a system that attracts all, the Ku Klux Klan mentality people as inmates. As workers, inside that system, took a stand inside that. So, we applaud and we give respect and appreciation to people who were able to keep that strong warrior, that spirit of resistance, which is so necessary today, to keep it alive and keep it moving. So we say, what's the call? Free them all.
Yes, my brother, you're absolutely right for what you said and what you laid down, because it's very important that once we understand the sacrifices of our political prisoners, we have that dialogue, we have that conversation amongst our peers. One of the things that we want to take some time out to offer our prayers and our thoughts and our meditations and whatever is necessary to the friends and family of Mutulu Shakur. We understand that, the situation is looking very intense, and we continue to keep them in our thoughts and on our prayers.
Right.
And we continue to fight on in this spirit. Stiff resistance. Let's keep moving forward as a people. Let's understand that we have to continue to show respect and show solidarity with those who gave so much of their lives to advance people. It's not enough to read about somebody and unite with them and say that you respect them and not take action. You have to show that in practice, in a way of life. You have to stand up and fight back. I know not all of us is going to fight at the same level as somebody like Mutulu Shakur or somebody like Kamal Siddiqui or Joy Powell, but you can do your part and support people like that. You could write them, you could carry on their ideas in various ways by educating another generation. You don't want them to, leave us in a way in more than just physically, right? They can't leave our minds, they can't leave our thoughts. We have to make sure that they remain in our thoughts and in our minds through our conversations. We have that responsibility, actually, if you are for a more humane world rather, because the capitalists are still in power, and until those who oppose those ideas of exploitation being a requirement to live a certain way, then the conditions in which people are oppressed under will continue to exist. So we have to continue to organize people. We still have to write our political prisoners and make sure they're all home. You have like somebody like Jojo Bowen. He is a political prisoner, prisoner of consciousness, right? Because his story, from what I understand at this point, and I do have to get more educated, and that's why we have to raise the name so we can have dialogue and we can get a sharper understanding of the significance of Jojo Bowen. He was
keep your thought.
Former gangbanger,
like George Jackson.
Yes,
he became politicized while in prison, so that's a prisoner of political conscience. As you remember, George Jackson was not political when he was arrested, and JoJo, just like him, became revolutionized while in prison. Continue, brother. Sorry.
Yes, now thanks for the clarity because that's what this discussions is about. It's about sharpen your understanding and break it down so we all understand it. So now when we revisit this conversation, now we all on the same page. So I appreciate that, and at any moment you can do that because that's what this platform is. It's conversational, conversation that leads to action. Like people who see me at the International African Arts Festival when I try to introduce myself, they say, "I know who you are, brother. I'm familiar with your work. I'm familiar with your show. So, salute to me and my brother Abdul Haq Islam for doing our podcast on a weekly basis. And if you happen to be there, because that was the place, if you happen to be in New York City, if you were of African descent, or if you have any solidarity or unity with the people of African descent who are striving to utilize their culture as a weapon through raising their consciousness, through understanding that there's still an oppressive system at play that we have to continue to fight against. That was the place to be. So you can have dialogue, so you can understand what's happening, and you know what role you need to play in it. We had a table. The Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition had a table. It's beautiful to see Sekou Odenga, to see Sundiata Acoli, to see Herman Bell. Those brothers did over 100 years collectively for the liberation of our people, and they need to be honored, respected, and it brought me a real sense of joy when I seen Sekou Odenga and I seen Sundiata Acoli getting a massage, and being offered something to eat by people, people who came out their pocket and made sure that they had something to eat, and the youth walking over to them and shaking their hand, and one brother even bowed down on his knees to Sundiata Acoli and said, "Yo, I had to do this." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that sight, we appreciate our political prisoners, and there's more that are incarcerated that we need to bring home, and we can bring them home because there's a picture that we have because we had this table for a couple of years, and Natasha Roberts, a member of the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition, I took a picture of her, and on top of the picture was Sundiata Acoli. So um, sometime after that picture was taken, maybe a year or two after that picture was taken, he was home with us and right at our table. And now you've seen him this year at our table talking about free all political prisoners. So he came home because of the organizing efforts of people, because rather the organizing of people to bring him home, and he's appreciative of that. And he didn't forget those who were back. So now we relate his position, right? He's home now, and he's advocating for the freedom of all political prisoners. That's the same way with Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass escaped the plantation and understood the conditions are still in existence, and there are still people who are so-called slaves on the plantation, and we got to bring them home, right? So he wasn't going to be comfortable with saying a speech and glorifying a country. He understood what was happening, and he was calling the country out. He was calling out the hypocrisy and letting people know that there are still people in bondage who are treated subhuman, who need to be free, and we got to do it ourselves, right? And we got to do it by being resilient. We got to do it by not accepting these conditions as something normal. We have to use any way possible to free our brothers who are in bondage, and we have to do the same thing with our political prisoners, right? We can write them, ask them what they need from us. We can sign petitions, and we can make sure that the next time that they come to the board, if they had 200 letters the previous time, this time they had 400. And if they have 400 letters and that's not enough, then we make sure that the next time is 600, right? And we use media, social media, we use whatever newspaper has the courage to talk about political prisoners. We use that as a basis to advocate for their freedom, because now you're raising the contradictions, right? You're heightening the contradictions, and now it's something that can't be ignored, because whoever's making that decision on keeping them continuously in bondage, now they looked upon as, oh, why did they make this decision? And if they're trying to pursue a certain political career, now we have the opportunity to expose them. We say that this brother wanted the continuation of an elder who had a number of ailments to be incarcerated for all their time. This brother was not given a life sentence or a death sentence, but the fact that you are continuously denying this brother or sister parole, then you're saying that you want to turn this sentence into a death sentence. There's this moral issue that's going on that's weighing down on an incarcerated brother or sister because now you're away from your family. That's very debilitating, and you have to pressure yourself to be stronger, to fight more strong, because to be away from your family and be denied birthday celebrations, be denied funerals, be denied weddings, graduations, all the things we take for granted. Political prisoners denied that. For what reason? How many years is enough? How many years you would say this person has done to reach what you call that rehabilitation stage in their lives? Is it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years? What really do they want? And I think that when we look at the 4th of July and we look at or really analyze Frederick Douglass' speech, we really have to look at what's going on in 2023. Like the brother said, what does this speech mean to us in 2023? We're being ethnically removed from our community. We're dealing with senseless violence in our community. Our schools are underfunded. Now they have questionable politicians who are supposed to be advocating for the people. That was a big loss to the people of East New York, Brooklyn, for us not to have Charles Barron again. And now
they're gonna regret it. They didn't vote.
Exactly.
Those who didn't vote gonna regret it.
So now we got to stand up and fight to make sure that we have a voice. Right? Charles Barron was a member of the Black Panther Party, so he understood what is needed to advocate for the people's interests. And he understands the sacrifices of our political prisoners.
His opponent was one that thought that the journey to freedom for our people was the backside of the enemy to sniff like cocaine. The backside of the enemy, that was the tactic to bring our people some benefit. Y'all, they're gonna be sorry. The folks who didn't vote for Barron are gonna be sorry. Go ahead, brother. Gonna regret it.
Right. So, there's going to be losses and there's going to be gains, but the whole point is that we have to fight. We have to continue to fight. We have to commit ourselves to a life of fighting. Right. Some of us need to take breaks and rest. Some of us understand that that's what drives us. It's the fact that we woke up today and we accept the fact that we have to fight. So let us think about those who sacrifice so much. I took a picture of Herman Bell, Sundiata Kohli, and Sekou Odinga, and I said, wow, this is over 100 years collectively that these brothers had gave up for the advancement, the freedom, the liberation of their people. And that's the sharpest expression of love.
I ain't do pretend. I do number knock 2 pigs out, but
and we appreciate your sacrifice and your commitment, right? That level of courage that you have, and because it takes a certain type of person to stand up to the system. The system is vicious, right? They have no remorse, no mercy for you. Everything is exploitation.
On that point, one good way to stop police brutality is for everybody within the range of my voice. I don't care how many pigs it is. You understand? If they put their hands on you, go all out.
All right.
In self-defense.
Absolutely.
If that happens enough, the police start scratching their heads and say, well, we got to slow this stuff down. You understand? But I don't care how many pigs it is. If they put their hands on you, you understand? Fight as hard as you can in self-defense. You understand? And that is one way to come at and to stop this police brutality. I mean, there's other methods also, but everybody make that decision in your mind right now. You understand? That's what it's going to be. Black power. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, brother, you have a right. We have a right as a people to self-defense.
That's right. That's
all our actions need to be calculated. We need to do some serious research on what actions we need to take and make sure that we stay unified, right? Whatever actions you decide to take on any and everything, you communicate with people. You don't. You have yourself associated with a group of people. Don't move in isolation. Don't move without informing people about what you stand for. You have to let people know what's going on in your lives, so people can be informed, and people be like, "Oh, I know that brother. That brother has credibility amongst the people.
Mm-hmm.
That brother's about some serious work. That brother is focused and he's sharp, and he not delusional. He not adventurous, meaning that he just wakes up or she just wakes up one day and decides that I'm going to do this without any thought about what may happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. That's important because now you have credibility amongst the people, and now we can validate you, and now we're willing to support you. Say, okay, you sacrifice for us, and we're gonna sacrifice for you. We're gonna make time away from distractions, time away from watching sports, watching reality TV, time away from the social media, engaging in conversations or discussions that are just about entertainment and not about organized action.
Goofy
So
stuff.
yeah, right, exactly. We're gonna commit ourselves to the advocating for your freedom because you were fighting and you were sacrificing for ours, and we have the responsibility to do so. And I think that this is why when we come on, we have these discussions, right? We relate everything to political prisoners because it's all about political prisoners. When you think about how you have a humane world, you think about sacrifices, right? Whether it's time, right, or it's money, right? Whatever you're doing, right, you're doing that for a greater good. You're doing that to get something done that's going to be beneficial to the collective as opposed to the individual. And that comes through sacrifices. That comes through making a commitment. That comes through understanding what's at stake. And that comes through consistency. And that's why when we do the podcast every week, it's because we want people to understand how serious we are, to understand that, yeah, you need to write to a political prisoner. Matter of fact, speaking on that, I wrote my letter again to Veronda Bowers because that lockdown was lightened. And I also wrote to Jojo Bowen, letting him know that we're interested in telling people his story. Want to make sure that he's aboard, and we do what we need to do because we don't let our political prisoners die in prison. So, my brother, we about have 1 minute left in
1 minute
show.
Let me talk fast.
So, say what you need to say. If you got to go over, so be it, man. But this is
okay. I want to give some props to our sister Natasha. You understand? Who said that we have to build? Okay. We got to build an education. We got telling the truth. You understand? Oftentimes we have to have a license. We can have independent types of education. And those who are within the system, you understand, can buck the system in the classroom by telling our youth the truth. In economics, the African Arts Festival was an example of economics. Resistance take the form of organizing on our own and building, as Natasha said. You have people out there who were engaged in independent economics. Many of them made their own clothes and sold and other items. Made their own crafts, and so that's independent education, military self-defense. We got to defend ourselves. We just had Juneteenth, and one of the main points of Juneteenth that it was black soldiers with guns in their hand who were ex-slaves who actually ended the war, who actually ended slavery. So that was independence, political. We have organizations like the Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army, NEPPC. You understand? The 712 movement. Who fight against tyranny. Douglas said, talked about the hypocrisy of an enemy who talks about they fighting against tyranny when they are the main tyrants. They talked about the prayers they made. These are people, this enemy of ours is an enemy of God, the enemy of Allah. You understand? People who fund Palestine to hundreds of millions of dollars, not fund Israel against Palestine. You understand? Enemies of God. You understand? Who claim to be religious and stuff like that. The biggest criminals, biggest mass murderers, thieves. That's why crime is so high in America. You understand? Because the enemy, the oppressor, the colonizer, has set the pattern for crime, as if crime would be a great reward. So we got to build our own culture. Don't follow the culture, you understand, of a beast with saliva and blood running down his mouth. You understand? Don't follow that culture. Follow a human culture. You understand? As black people, as Africans, who stand up for justice, who really love justice. We talk about justice, we're being sincere. We're talking about an end of tyranny and oppression. You understand? We're dealing with the real world. We're not dealing with the world of make-believe or make-believe story of a fight for glory, you understand, that lived in the world of make-believe. No, we're in the real world, to build real things in the real world, you understand, and involved in that struggle has been our political prisoners, those who languish in jail now. Do not allow them to rot in jail. Incidentally, Matula, the doctor said he has 3 weeks to live. Before, the doctor said he has 6 months to live. He outlived that. So we hope the doctors are wrong again. So do not allow our political prisoners to die in prison. What's it called? Free them all.